Hi, I'm Carline Saintilus. I am running for Lee County School Board District 5. District 5 is more of the East Zone, and that comprises of Lehigh Acres, Alva, Olga, North Fort, part of North Fort Myers rather, Moore Shores, and Buckingham.
That seems like a really critical area.
It's very critical and it's a very large area, to be quite honest with you. We are a majority minority populated area. I'd say about 49% of the area is Hispanic or Latino, and the other 51% comprises of people from different parts of the world. And it's a very unique community. I mean, you meet all kinds of people from different walks of life, and you learn about different cultures and all of the things. So it's a very special place.
That's awesome. What makes you want to run for school board in that area?
The East Zone has so much potential. I really feel that there is a Cinderella story from that area. There's a running joke for many years that Lehigh is known as the redheaded stepchild, right? And it's time that that joke goes away. And I want to be able to be in a position to where I'm able to represent the entire community, support teachers and staff, actually be an advocate for bringing proper resources for education for our students, because I believe all students deserve equal access to educational opportunities and resources, regardless of the zip code that they're in. I want to be able to be accountable to the overall community of taxpayers because the trust is broken between the community and the district. And so I want to be that person. I'm from the area. I know the struggles of the area. I'm a product of the public school. And I'm a former teacher. So and I'm a parent. So I come, being in education, and with my background as a child, the eldest of 5 kids to a Haitian immigrant family, one of our foundations and our pillars is education, right? And so my parents beat that in me and I beat it in my kids. And so we knew, and we were products of education being one of the catalysts to opening doors to opportunity for us. And so because I know the importance of having a good and proper education, I want to be able to be that person, that vessel to ensure that the children in my community are properly educated. And not even, more so than that, I work also in the real estate industry, and I know that property value directly correlates with how a school is performing in a community. And if a school is not properly performing, the area isn't really in high demand. So the values go down. We don't have enough equity in our property. We need to be able to do that. And so I want it to be an overall win for the entire community. And we need to stop the cycle of issuing diplomas to students who can't even complete a college application for enrollment. That has to stop. For me, it makes no sense that a student should have to graduate high school and then go over into college or university and take remedial classes. That needs to stop. And that is the cycle that has been being repeated over and over and over again for several years. And majority of those students come from District 5. So we have to stop that.
That's interesting. So would you say that the metric is that's just the graduation rate rather than what is success in graduation?
Yes, correct. And it's all in how you define the success, right? Right. You can issue a diploma. That's great. But when you issue a diploma, how are we preparing these students for post high school? Right? Whether they decide to go to college, off to the military, go into the career path or workforce, whichever path that they decide to choose, how are we preparing them for that? How are they going to be able to complete an online application for a job if they don't know how to read, or if they're reading at a 3rd grade or even below than that? So these are the things that is consistently happening. There are a couple of schools in my district, East Lee High School as well as Lehigh Senior High School, and students, the Algebra 1 test for the EOCs annually, they are in the bottom, I believe it's 1/6 and 1/3 in comparison to the state of Florida. So they're really at the bottom. One of the schools is there's 18% pass rate, and the other school is a 9% pass rate. That's super low. And when you compare it to other schools within the same district that's operating under the same systems, same superintendent, same everything, there's something systemically wrong. There's something systemically wrong. And so my belief is that this isn't a one size fit all. It shouldn't be a one size fit all system. District 5 is a community that is, English is not the primary language for the majority of the population there. And so we need to understand the cultural differences, and we need to be able to meet the families where they are. There's a financial aspect too. A majority of the families there are in survival mode. They're working multiple jobs, rubbing 2 nickels together to make ends meet. So the likelihood of them being present for their children's education is probably non-existent. And so what happens is then it creates other issues, behavioral problems, chronic absenteeism, and then it travels into the classroom. Then it becomes disruptive to teaching time. Teachers aren't able to teach because they're constantly, intervening for behavioral problems. And then the teacher then is already overworked, underpaid, undervalued, you name it, they're experiencing it. And so it takes away from lesson planning. It takes away from actually teaching a lesson to the other students who want to learn. I mean, it's a domino effect. And so what I want to do, because I understand my community, I'm in tune with my community, I understand the needs of my community, I want to be able to bring that perspective to the board. And not only that, to bring the resources and advocate for the resources to help close the achievement gap, to help reverse the chronic absenteeism, to offer additional achievement or academic support for the students, whether it be high dosage tutoring after school or even during the summer times, because during the summer months, most of our students fall backwards because there's a break in between. Partnering with organizations and faith-based organizations as well to offer additional services for the students, boys and girls clubs, anything that the district within reason, obviously, to help close that achievement gap and help us progress in terms of academics. Yes. However, I also want to include that parents need to also take some responsibility in their children's education. The school district isn't a daycare center or a babysitting service, right? You can't just drop off your kids to school or to the bus stop and then expect the bus drivers to be accountable to babysit your children, or even the teachers in the classroom. That is not the overall purpose for school. And so oftentimes I've come across parents who have that mindset, and that is a detrimental mindset for the school. They're doing a disservice to their children, and they're doing a disservice to the actual school. So
I was born and raised here. My mom was a Filipino immigrant in the 80s, and so I'm first generation here as well. And she was able to situate us in a neighborhood where I had access to really incredible schools. That is increasingly less and less attainable.
absolutely.
And so what I'm curious about is, I know that there is a way that they issue funding based on school grades. Does it seem backwards to give the best schools the most funding? Like, maybe it should be treated like the NFL draft or something, right? Like the worst team,
Right.
not to be, however, but they get to pick first, right? Shouldn't more money go into there? What is your perspective on that, especially considering from my research, the East area is experiencing the most growth in population versus the A school areas, maybe because of the hurricane,
Right.
I'm not really sure. are decreasing in population. So can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, the East, yes, and you're right. The East Zone has been experiencing a lot of growth over the last 10 years or so. And one of the main reasons is affordability, right? Property taxes are somewhat affordable, insurances, et cetera, right? But the schools are not performing at optimal level for whatever reason. And again, I attribute it to the fact that the population is where English is not the primary language, so there's a factor of a language barrier. There are factors of a lack of parental involvement. I mean, we also have the ESC population. Their IEPs are not being met, and that for me is a very sensitive touch point, because we're dealing with students, a very specialized population of students that really need those support services. And with the district terminating these contracts and removing these support services like the psychologists and social workers and trained professionals to help with the IEP support services, we were already lacking in those resources to begin with. And the fact that now that they've eliminated more of those positions, we're taking probably 10 steps even more backwards. And so, yes, I believe that, yes, we should pour more resources into those areas, but I'm for being fair. In my journey through this campaign, I've come across many teachers and many different school staff, janitors, bus drivers, you name it. I've spoken to just about everyone, including parents. And one of the common theme that I might take away from everyone is there's a lack of unity. And so we need to be able to be one, because we all have a common goal, and that is to educate our children and to make our community better for all of us to benefit from it. And so because there is a lack of unity, I'm not in favor of schools pitting teachers and educational professionals against one another, whereas, with offering bonuses or additional incentives to a certain criteria of teachers versus another, it's not, in my opinion, fair. Teachers are, as a former teacher, it's a very noble profession, obviously. I don't think any one of us, you teach because you love. That's the bottom line. You're not rich at all. I don't know a teacher that is a millionaire. I really don't. And they're rich in other resources, but in terms of finances, absolutely not. And so if there's going to be a raise, and one of the things that I will advocate for is to properly compensate and give livable wages to good talent. We need to recruit really good talent. If we are supposed to be a world-class school system, we need world-class employees. And in order to get world-class employees, we need to be able to pay them proper living wages. Why is it that Collier County is doing so much better than us? Why is it that Charlotte County is doing so much better with teacher retention? There's a serious revolving door issue here. There are teachers. I've met teachers. I met a teacher last year. I met her at an event, and she shared with me that, and this was her 10th year. She said during her 5th year, they told her that she would receive a bonus. 5th year came around, they pushed the goalpost back and told her wait till 10 year. Year 10 comes in 2025. She's like, hey, I made it to year 10. Where's my bonus? She didn't get that bonus. Yeah. And so her morale is literally gone.
That's a decade.
And so she feels deceived, and she actually shared with me that she's contemplating leaving the profession altogether. And just in my encounter with this teacher during that time, I just picked up so much good energy, and she's an elementary school teacher in my district, no less, and I see the love and just the passion for education that she had. And the fact that she's leaving because she was deceived by the school district, it's really heartbreaking, and we need to stop that. It has to stop, because we lose really good talent. District 5 is a very critical area, and we cannot afford to lose good talent. We need to bring in good talent, keep the good talent, treat the staff right. My heart is for people. I want to definitely and always advocate for them, stand up for them, support them, and on in my line of work, I do something every quarter for my staff. I get them a spa package to a resort. They need to rejuvenate because they put in 40, 50 hours a week at work. And we have to take that in. I'm not saying that that's what the district needs to do, but if you pour into your people, you get the best out of them. And you cannot expect a teacher or a staff member to show up to work and give their all in a classroom or outside of the classroom, and then you're not really pouring into them. That math ain't mathin', not for me at least. And so I definitely want to be able to be that person to stand up for them and support them and just, because if the teachers are performing well, our students will perform well. They will, it's a transference of energy, so.
Okay. So here's the big question,
Uh-oh.
right? We're the huge topic for everyone is we're in this huge deficit, right?
Yes.
And those are amazing goals to have. The realities of the budget are another thing. Where do you see the capacity for the district to be able to invest at that level in teachers, but to also in tandem, sort of close that gap on that massive budget deficit that we've got going on that has happened operationally?
Well, what I believe needs to be done initially is an independent audit, a forensic audit. I read not too long ago that the district was aware of this deficit. And so if the district was aware of this deficit, why wasn't it caught when you were first made aware of it? Why did you, I guess for lack of a better term, ignore it, right? So that's poor stewardship, in my opinion, and it should not have been ignored because you ignored it to the point where it's now to the tune of $94 million. And so then you have to essentially pull $46 million actually from the capital funds over to the general budget in order to fund that. But we're still $47 million in the hole. But to make up for that, you terminate nearly 500 positions. So what happens in August when school's back in session? So now we were already dealing with overcrowded classrooms. So now we're going to with teachers that had 40 plus students in their classrooms. So now we're going to have 60 students per classroom now? And we're going to be without teachers, certified teachers. We're going to be bringing in guest teachers. And then so now this is a vicious cycle that will continuously repeat itself. So I am all in favor of and will advocate for an independent forensic audit. We need to find out where and how this $47 million deficit started and make some adjustments to close that gap and tighten our belts. Because and it's just like with your budget or my budget. If we see that we're we're splurging too much, we have to tighten our belts. No more dinner, the fancy dinner at 5-star restaurants and all of those things. We just have to tighten our belts until we are in a good position. I live within my budget. In the work that I do, I have to be within a budget. I cannot go outside of my budget. And if it means that I have to not travel to Hawaii for 2 years and save monies and replenish my accounts for a rainy day, I will do it. And that's what we always need to do. I know plenty of people who live within their means or live below their means, and we're fine. We're just fine.
Yeah. It seems like managing budget and the fixes that, in your view, need to happen for the Lee County School District might be a matter of priorities. And it seems to me, at least, that your heart is in the place of supporting the teachers and supporting the students and supporting the families that are inside your district.
Absolutely.
We've got about 4 minutes left. I know it flies by.
We're having fun.
But what would you like to tell the parents and the families in your district?
Oh my gosh. I don't even know where to start. There's a myriad of issues that need to be addressed, and we need to start moving the needle towards progress in the district. I am not a miracle worker. I am someone who actually cares about my community, and I want to see my community progress towards better. As I said before, I see Lehigh and the East Zone. We have a Cinderella story, and there is an opportunity for us to progress and just become better, a more thriving community for our children, because there's so much potential out there. And the term redheaded stepchild, yeah, it's cute, but it needs to go away. I do intend to be that person who is still present in my community. You will always catch me at Publix. You will always catch me at Walgreens. I am accessible. I am the girl next door. I am not someone who will hide. I take accountability. Hold me accountable. If something is wrong, I won't make any promises that I don't intend on keeping. When I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. I want the children of my community and the entire county to be a world-class system. At one point, Lee County was ranked eighth out of 10 in the top 10 counties within the state. Now we're now 9. And at some point, we should not be moving lower in the ranks. We should be moving up in the ranks. And so we need to have better leadership in order to have us progress so that we can move up the ranks instead of going down in the ranks. I am Carline Saintilus, and I am your candidate for Lee County School Board District 5. You can look me up. I am on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, Carline Saintilus. And my website is votesaintillussbd5.com.